What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, Facebook? We're back with another episode of The Biz. Make sure you like and subscribe at the bottom. Follow us because today we're going to be talking some more people business. Why? Because I done handle mine. So I'm happy to have one of my Facebook friends on with me today. I've only gotten to meet him through Facebook, but you know when you just connect with certain Black people on Facebook, it's like family. Some of them close to my real family, but so today we're going to be talking about some of these canceled people that we got going on in our community today. We got Mr. Tre Songz spitting in women's mouths. T.I. and Tiny, we all know what they got going on. Cardi B and then Miss Candace Owens been going back and forth with it on Twitter again. And then Stacey Dash. I don't know what we're gonna do with Stacey Dash, but she still looked pretty fine. But so let's go jump on with Mr. Murad. What's going on?
First off, we definitely canceling Cardi B. She's out of there.
So you saw the story. I don't know if you saw the Grammy thing the other night, but Cardi B and Candace Owens been going back and forth since then, and even prior to that. Candace Owens' whole thing is, she just think Cardi B is a den of sin. Candace Owens for me has always been one of those chicks that I don't know if I should agree with everything, but I'm not writing her off because she says some stuff sometimes that we need to hear. I just don't think she always is saying it from, I don't know. What do you think about Candace Owens?
A broken clock. What is it? A stop clock is right twice a day. I mean, she a little bit more accurate than twice. Some of the things she speaks a lot of inconvenient truths. Mm-hmm. I mean, we may not like it, but it is true. We shouldn't allow these. I mean, it's freedom of choice, but I get tired of seeing these things. I have a daughter. She's 13. I wouldn't want her to look towards, the WAP culture and all of that stuff. I mean, wow. I mean, and to think that's somebody's wife out there behaving like that.
Listen, them the ones who getting bagged up real fast right now. But I'll say this, like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, all of these chicks that's coming out right now that's calling themselves like the it artists, like I don't see any actual artistry coming out of them. Like I don't even think she's gonna be around in 10 years. And when we compare it to like Lauryn Hill and and that was one thing that came up at the Grammys. Sidebar. I saw that Megan Thee Stallion just what is it? She got a record that tied with Lauryn Hill as far as like one of the most decorated hip hop female artists. And my thing in back of my head, that's just more so a sign of the times. Because there's no way in the world you can compare a Lauryn Hill to a Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes.
And then as far as like with Cardi B, my thing with her is, I mean, she sounds like an illiterate. I'll just be real. She sounds like an illiterate.
From Bronx, yo. What the people say, dead behind? You touched on us.
You from?
No, sir. I'm from Southern California. No, my wife and I, we relocated here. No property taxes, no state taxes, and a lot of opportunities. So we moved here, and it's warm year round. So we like it, and we stay away from the Strip. People think Las Vegas is just the boulevard, but we stay away from all of that. We don't gamble. We're not out there doing all of that kind of stuff. But you touched on something very interesting about Cardi B being a sign of the times, and these people now they have these people as like a business model, like a Jay-Z, if you will. He rap about the selling the drugs, then they take the drug money, get into the rap game, and then they get into the alcohol, the clothing, and some of our people, we learn by seeing. We are very much a monkey do culture. So when we see these people doing this, other young brothers don't see a brother that that worked with computers, get an education, start a business. This stuff gravitates. So a lot of these young ladies, everything got an expiration date. A lot of these young ladies may believe that they can go out there and do the booty shake and take that money and then do something else. And but oftentimes it end up with drug addiction, sex addiction, children abuse, all of these other things, a lot of broken dreams, and they don't get to that other thing. I don't like that this is put on Front Street. Like, we have these Cardi B's, we have these people, but where are the Megan Thee Stallions? Where are the Lauryn Hill? I mean, not no, we know the Megan Thee Stallion, but where are the Lauryn Hills? Where are these people with talent? Lizzo is a very talented young lady, but I saw a meme and talked about her being able to sing and play instruments, but then it's like something made her think that she has to twerk. Why is this? And it hurts, it hurts because, I mean, like it just hurts to see women do that and degrade themselves. Me as a man, I'm 41 years old, but I just choose to look the other way. I'm not going to give that life and anything. But it is so sad, the condition that our people are in, and it's sad that those are the ones that are rewarded the most.
And that was one of the things, I guess, that me and my brother, who was on with me last night, kind of touched on, was just the idea of the difference between talent and then your ministry. When I look at an artist like Lizzo, just like you said, it's undeniable that she has talent, but it's like the route that she chooses to go with that talent. It takes her away, I feel, from us knowing her calling and kind of finding her place with like great artists that have come before her. Like, my thing is, when I see most of them now, I feel almost like they're being packaged by the industry to fit a mold. And
yes, sir.
It's so sad. Like, the industry is pretty much designing Black women to look this way. And then when we hear women like Candace Owens, who challenges it, I mean, to be very honest, she doesn't have to be your cup of tea with her views on everything. But what you do know is she shows up, she's respectful, she's dignified, she carries herself. And, honestly, she's an attractive woman. So you hear all of these things that are being said about her. It's kind of, I wonder who is actually bolstering it. My thing is with Candace Owens, like, hey, I don't always agree with you, but I can respect to hear your point of view because you actually have one. You're on somebody.
Yeah. And it's a dignified thing. It's so sad. Do you I may be a little bit older than I know I'm older than you, brother, but do you remember the UNITY, Queen Latifah? It was, who you calling the B word? UNITY. Yeah. She said, sisters, you gotta let them know you're not a B or a hoe. And it's so crazy. Then it then went to the little Kim with she's the baddest B, and then now they just all the way out with it. Like, look, they doing the city girls. I never heard of them until then Megan Thee Stallion blew up. But speaking of who packaged this, I saw everybody's favorite auntie Maxine co-signing on Miss Meg Thee Stallion. And I saw that an 82-year-old woman. Now, my grandma would have told her, put some daggone clothes on. Quit showing, and you got shot in your foot because you was hanging around that daggone loser who don't know how to respect women. That's what you get. I taught you better than that. But for an 82-year-old woman, that should be an elder, not just an old lady. She to encourage that behavior, it like you say, it's a sign of the times. Or I mean, what do you think, brother? Are people, are the older ones of us living vicariously through them? Is this new empowerment going to serve to our detriment in 20 years?
Now, I'll say, like, I heard that, and I was wondering if she was for real or if this was more of a PR stunt. We get a lot of these older Black politicians. It almost feels like they're catering to this hip hop generation. Yes. Maxine Waters, I doubt she can really even quote a Cardi B lyric because I just can't see a woman with a mouthful of dentures actually sitting right here co-signing this. But
it's embarrassing.
Think about it. Like, do you think that these women do this because they can't find the actual support in our community for their talent? I mean, I'm always at a loss for why would a Cardi B be a Cardi B? You feel?
How did you make it this far?
It would feel like to me after a certain extent that you would have collected the money that you need to collect. I'm gonna be real, and you would have said, you know what, I want to make a change. Like, I can't see myself going into my 40s shaking my behind like I'm 20. I'm just saying. Like
My 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 wife said, my wife, speaking to your point, my wife said Beyonce had all that money, her husband rich too, but she still got to get out there and do all that stuff. Her husband ain't told her to sit her behind down somewhere. We got some kids, we got money. You don't got to do that no more. But
exactly. Now, the other day we were talking about Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. I'm gonna say this about Kim Kardashian. I'm gonna say this. I've always looked at her like a joke. I still think she's a little bit of a joke. But when I look at their marriage now, and the more and more I look at it, I'm like, there has been evolution with these plastic white women. Like, I'm gonna say this: you don't see her out here shaking her butt or trying to be like the it girl no more. She has 4 kids. She still does her show, but her show promotes her branding and her lifestyle. It feels like
yes,
there's a difference in her maturation, her maturity, than there is for like Beyonce. When I look at Beyonce and like artists like that, it feels like I don't see them maturing. I see them they're getting older, so they're trying to redefine what beauty looks like. Beyonce has pretty much been the same thing now. She's just shaking around with box braids and calling herself Afrocentric. That's
wow,
that's how I see it. Like the
yeah.
status what she does hasn't changed.
That's an interesting contrast too. You know, the Kardashians' mom, they said, well, I don't know the mom's name, but my wife is sitting beside me, so sure she right here in my earpiece. She gonna tell me some good stuff. But the mom has a lot of brains, and
Yeah,
I know Miss Knowles has a lot of brains too. But I remember Cardi or Kim Kardashian. Now she's working on becoming an attorney or a lawyer. So she's, like you say, she's rebranding herself. And it's like these people don't rebrand. A lot of our people are not rebranding themselves to where they're doing something where they're more useful to our people. I see it more like they get the bag and they leave all of this corruption and they bring our people down, and then 10 years from now you see very few apologies, like, you know, maybe, you know, like the drug culture, you know, these things with men. A lot of people will say, hey, I was wrong. I even heard, you talk about the pot calling the kettle black. I heard Snoop Dogg say to Cardi B that that's not a good look with the
yeah,
WAP song. I said, man, not Mr. Ain't No Fun himself gonna say that. Like
here's
it's something going on.
even with that, like Snoop Dogg, I feel like is in a perfect position to speak to like the hip hop community now, because we've seen evolution from him. He went from being, OG street thugs rapping like that to now this man has got wine branding. This man
Yes,
is
sir.
doing what is it, cooking shows with Martha Stewart.
Yes,
Snoop
sir.
Dogg just had one of the #1 gospel albums 2-3
Yes,
years
sir.
ago. So you would think that these ideas would be promoted in hip hop, but again, I don't even think Cardi B is necessarily behind herself looking like this. I think
Speaking of,
go on.
you know, now I like to read the headlines and the stories. I love Candace Owens. She said something very good. She said everyone talks, it was, maybe it wasn't her, but she said everyone talks about my white husband, but who owns your music? You know, it's talking to Cardi B. She said, who owns, she said they get more money off your WAP than you. And that was
Exactly.
something, you know, and that's something about ownership. People call Kanye crazy, and but he always stressed ownership of his material, his intellectual property, and all of these different things. And but people wrote him off as being crazy. Speaking of which, they said when back in the days of the ancestors, that when they were on the plantation, they said a slave that didn't want to be a slave, he had a mental disease too. I don't know the name of it. I'll find it and text it to you. But it's interesting when we want to control our, have more ownership over our output and, you know, our image and these things. They look at us like we're crazy. It's like, man, which one? Another Cadillac? You want a chain, or you want some girls or some drink? You know, go on over there and chill out. You know, they that's all. You know, that's what they think we want. And so I think that this whole thing, I don't know what's so empowering. I remember seeing a clip of Megan Thee Stallion saying, you know, the black woman is the most disrespected and unprotected. She quoted Malcolm. And I said, but your behavior opens up our sisters who don't behave like that. You know, a lot of sisters, they got a lot of great restaurants to eat in Las Vegas. And you know, my wife and I are out, and she'll say, you know, sisters like, hey, can y'all just walk me to my car? These people think I'm a
Yeah.
prostitute and everything. And it's just like, because, you know, they come from all around the world, you know, all over Europe, Africa, China, and they got this image of these sisters. And can it be that these people are contributing to our sisters being treated like that? Same thing. I was in the Bahamas, and brother come up, these some real niggas from. I'm like, hey, bro, who said that? You know, and that's how they approached us. And it's like these images when brothers offer correction or love and advice, and the women like, you can't tell us. And I just said, you know, you got to remember when they showed the first movie showed at the White House was Birth of a Nation. After they showed that movie, lynchings went up and membership to the KKK went up. You
Yeah.
know, because and so, you know, the first thing they do is they kill your image. That way, when they kill our body, nobody care. Because it's like, well, look at him. You know, he probably just a gang-banging drug dealer. I know you not like that, Mr. Sid. But it's easy for people to try to pigeonhole us and typecast us in certain things because a brother like you who out here making moves and who doing something, maintaining standards and dignity, discipline, loving the Lord, and that gets no play. So it's like maybe we got to turn these Cardi B's off, but sometimes, you know, we don't want to hear the Candace Owens when she's telling us we have to behave better. We have to, you know, think. And she promote Thomas or what's our brother Thomas Sowell, and you know, other people to get us to critically think, and that's not okay. You know, we don't like that.
Now,
But I
a moment ago, you spoke about like rebranding. Now, these next two people we're gonna talk about,
yes sir.
Miss Stacey Dash and Mr. Tre Songz. When we talk about rebranding, these are two people right now who direly need a rebrand, and we need to ask everybody, what do you think about their current brand, or are we disallowing them to the cookout? Now, for those of you who don't know, Miss Stacey Dash, Miss Clueless, the '90s heartthrob, she was, I mean, she was like the it girl, but I don't know. One day she just decided to be a Republican and lights out on her career. On the other end, we got Tre Songz. I look at Tre Songz like a male Fantasia. We don't know none of his. We don't know none of his hits, and really, unless what am I thinking about? Unless it's your cup of tea, it's like Fantasia. You can't listen to that. Like you can't listen to Tre Songz like that. But I think he's one of those R&B singers who's going to have longevity versus like
Yes,
success. But recently he had a club appearance, or I believe it was like a club appearance, and he was performing. And in his performance, when women rushing the stage to come see him, he decides to spit in the woman's mouth like some type of weird sexual get up.
What did she do afterwards?
She swallowed it. Like, and that's my whole thing. And I put these
now,
two
what
people.
I bet there was 100 ladies that wish that he spit in their mouth. Now, that like you said,
but here's the thing. It shows like the paradigm in like our culture, because on one hand, we have women who, black women as a whole right now, they're demanding protect us, defend us. But look how fast we write off Stacey Dash. But on the other hand, look at some of this behavior that we are getting. Like, it's one thing for this man to think that he can do this. I don't know why. Nobody asking about STDs with these celebrities, but you let this man do this, but you allowed it. And it's kind of, where does the responsibility lie as a man on that end, that we can pull away and say, hey, out of respect to you, even though you allow me to do this, I can't.
I'm not gonna do it.
Didn't
the sister sue Usher for giving her herpes?
Whatever happened to that? I mean, everybody just stopped talking about that.
I bet she liked it that night they hung out. That they hung out, it wasn't no problem. A few years later, when she matured and realized she got to live with this for the rest of her life, I think I need $15 million. And it's an interesting thing when we're young. the sad thing is like the young people, are leading the old people, but we, that we're not saying us elderly, us that should be elders, we aren't saying that, this ain't a good look. But when you're young, our people are hurting, and we such an instant gratification people. One thing we can control is sex, and that make a lot of people feel good. Is we edifying our own flesh rather than for delaying or forgoing the easy win, the instant gratification. And we're doing these things without knowing that in the long run we're cheaping ourselves and we getting further from our creator. And I just can't imagine that. You back in the day, somebody spit on you, it's finna be a fight.
I mean,
And then in front of people,
not only in front of people, but like in participation with other people. That's one thing. I mean, I know some people can be a little freaky in their home, but dog, you just gonna let a random stranger do that. But on the other hand, we got Stacey Dash. So I'm gonna ask you, what do you think Stacey Dash did so bad to black people that we ain't letting her come to the cookout, but Tre Songz can hawk loogies in people's mouth and it's still on.
She thought for herself. She thought for herself, and she broke with the herd. We like people confirmation bias. You can't do nothing that I don't do.
I believe Stacey Dash. Candace Owens is, I consider, an extreme conservative, but Stacey Dash for me sometimes, a lot of times, has went way too far. Like,
yes.
I remember some of her comments on Fox and stuff. I don't know if it's her being out of touch or is this just her opinion? But recently she did an interview, and in that interview she was basically saying she wants to apologize to black people, and she believed that she had went too far. A lot of black people right off the rip after her saying that was, nope, canceled. That's it. It's a wrap. It's just shocking to me that her behavior is cancel worthy, but on the other hand, we got Cardi B doing this, and Grammy. On the other hand, we got Tre Songz doing this and a hit. I mean, I wonder how much of this the media is hyping up, and how much of it is legitimate black people saying. Because I don't believe in our homes, even in the worst homes, I don't believe that people are really thinking the way that it comes across.
Absolutely not. We do it to tell they tell our vision tell us to do. I can't believe. Speaking of cancel culture, today, brother, the sisters was marching in Chicago for R. Kelly, free R. Kelly. They said.
I think I saw that on your page, matter of fact, and I just Jack. And that's all I can say.
I didn't mean to get you, bro. I see that vein about to pop out your forehead. I didn't mean to do that to you.
I mean,
but they want to cancel Stacey Dash. They forgiven R. Kelly, who is a bona fide predator and a menace to our children. And we know that what he was doing to children, these become toeholds and footholds and strongholds, and then they become iniquities that fall on the 2 and 3 generations, and we can forgive that man. But this woman just talking a little bit of a mess that we don't want to hear, and we gonna cancel her. That's not right. I don't understand.
That was one of the things that I remember I used to talk about, like in Bible study, as far as like there's a difference between our transgressions and then our iniquities. Yes, and a lot of people don't get that, but from what back me up if I'm wrong, what I've always learned is, iniquities are those sins that it's just innate to us. It's almost like it was inherited from that past generation of brokenness, hurt, and we're left to deal with it. We're doing stuff and we don't even know why we're doing it. So when we look at a lot of people now who battle these tumultuous relationships, a lot of it, like, hey, your mom and daddy ain't never been together and they ain't never known each other, and your mama done had 35 men and your daddy done did all this with every woman in town. Like, it kind of, how could you know how to make a solid foundation except if you found Christ? Like, how could you know? You had,
yes, sir.
There was no God. When we look at a lot of these celebrities now, like, it's funny looking at it, but it's scary when you think, like, dang, there are people out here who really follow this hype, and they take this stuff like this is real. Like y'all are out here really supporting R. Kelly. Like this is a family member. But on the flip, when it's time to show up to march for Walter Scott, when it's time to show up to march for stuff that matters, like y'all,
They
what's
fee her.
going on?
They fee her that day. But when it's time to go drop it, they come on now. We getting free for the club. Speaking of those iniquities, my pastor instructed us. He said, you see, it start off it as a toe hole. They dipped a foot in there just to test the water. They know they ain't supposed to be doing that. And then it become a foothold. And then that become a stronghold, and that becomes the iniquity. So it's like my mom did this. You know, you got the whole family in the house on drugs,
And those are the hardest things. You know, it's one thing to sin against yourself. It's one thing. Like, but when you're trying to break a stronghold that you don't even know is apparent to you, and what's sad is, you know, especially now that I'm working in our community, in the Black community, it's you see people who are victims to these generational cycles.
Yes, sir.
They don't even realize like you are stuck. And this stuff that you put in your head right now, it's worsening your chances of getting out. Your kids don't, and it's so sad. It was even kids that were working in my store. I was just like, dag, like I want to help you, but you so far removed from the reality that I know like the only thing I can do is pray for you and let you go before you destroy my life. Like I'm just being
That's
real.
right. That's right. That's we spend a lot of time, my wife and I, we praying and just a little bit about my story. And I know this isn't the show, but I hadn't seen my son is 24 years old. My wife and I have been together since we was 14 and or 16. We 41. Our oldest boy is 24. My father just met my son 5 weeks ago in New Jersey. My dad was a heroin addict and he finally got clean. But then that's the culture, the family, the cousins. They either do it, they sell it. Or they in jail or they got killed doing it. And I was so and they say, Mirage, you got out of here. Don't you bring your behind back here unless somebody die.
Yeah.
And it took my mom to leave New Jersey to California. And then I grew up out there in 1988. And I moved when I was in the service. And, you know, but it's like to see all of that time. And I tell my boys, you know, this is why I've been, because they didn't know their granddad. My granddad just got clean. But it's like when it's the culture, it's like, you know, the culture, that's how we handle problems. But it can be good cultures too. You see, I see it with you. You come from a culture of good people. Your mom and your dad, they sowed a lot of good seeds. That fruit is going to remain. And it's hard to tell people you speak against the herd, we attack you. You know, we look at Candace Owens. She tell us something. We know it ain't right, but it's almost like we're powerless to change it.
Yeah.
We know that these people shouldn't be doing these things. And it's hard, you know, like we like the person so much that we can't differentiate between what they're doing and everything. So I see it now. I don't want to get ahead of myself or never you. This is your show. But even with T.I., good man, and he know he doing something wrong, but maybe that's why he all up in that doctor's office with his daughter.
Now let me say this. We're gonna jump right over into that. So before we do go, Stacey Dash in or out?
If R. Kelly could come kick it, Stacey Dash, and you know, we don't have no retirement fund for these people, so she was probably just trying to get some money. Trump and them Fox people needed a nice, pretty black face. They figured. I mean, we are so hard on each other, brother, and we're so easy. We forgot Joe Biden. If we forgave Joe Biden, we can't forgive Stacey.
Real fast. And I'm gonna be real. Y'all say what y'all want.
$1,400 checks wasn't that big.
Hey, that too. I'm gonna say this: Cardi B, between Cardi B and Stacey Dash, I take a Stacey Dash. I'm just being real.
Stacey Dash.
Stacey Dash.
She said a few things that was right. We just don't want to hear it.
Look,
see, other people that we like, we let somebody, we'll let them violate us, run over us, do all kind of bad stuff. They know daggone well R. Kelly was out of line, but he made the remix to Ignition, so it's okay.
You know what? And I think what black people have been able to do with R. Kelly, we can't do with most people that we walk across the side of the street. Like most black people are quick to say, well, I like the music. I'm gonna be real. R. Kelly has made hits I don't care what nobody say about this man. 30 years from now, it's gonna be somebody cookout. And I
They're
know
gonna be stepping. Ooh, when that come on, I'm
somebody.
rubbing my feet right now. I'm twisting my ankles. My wife, my daughter 13, and she was singing that same girl. I looked at my daughter. I said, "How you know that song?" My wife was like, somebody about to get the belt," and I
Look,
was
R.
just like,
Kelly is up
when
there
I
with Michael Jackson. And I don't know how, but even when I listen, like my nieces and stuff now, like they know who R. Kelly is. R. Kelly is Michael Jackson. I'm just he surpassed.
yes.
I believe like he's almost one of those people that we're able to say this is the music, that's him. We gonna back him with the music, but
But can that be the same way Lucifer, that the angel of music, the beautiful music,
it
and
is.
that can that be how he led us astray? And that's for us that have spiritual eyes to see that we have to stay aware and stay prayed up, and we have to keep each other lifted up too, because it's so easy for us to be misled. You know us, them drums get to hitting, and we next thing you know, we don't even know what we dancing to, and then you start listening to it, and you like, what? Oh no, turn this off. You know, I got kids, they got all these little devices and gadgets and whatnot, and they don't even hear it. And I tell them, the words are when it's life and death in the power of the tongue. You are speaking positive or negative affirmations when you say, I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm this. So my children like that Nas song. I know I can be what I want to be if I work hard at
Yeah,
it. And,
yeah,
and, and but I was watching Straight Outta Compton, and it was a thing. What the coldest line in the movie to me was when Ice Cube said to Eazy-E about how he led a somebody. It rhymes with "ooh, break up the crew." And
hmm
when those people took over our music, I was listening to KRS-One, and he said hip hop stood for a higher, infinite power healing our people. And he talked about that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now the music, it went from the hip hop to rap music. So now the repetitious rap is just, these kids singing death songs and about killing each other, selling drugs, and they constantly saying this over. They calling themselves pimps. They saying this negative stuff, and they speaking this over themselves. They claiming it, and they breathing life. And then so when we look, so it so, that Satan, these people that these demonic forces are running this music. Why would they give our children, or why would they promote people that are going
And
to teach
what's
our
crazy about it
children
though?
something?
What's
Yes,
crazy
sir.
about it though is I can listen to country music all day long.
I love it. They got the best love songs.
But I'm going to say this: when you listen to it, you don't hear the same theme. Like
No.
love is a universal theme, but the
Yes, sir.
way it is told in a white genre of music is totally different. And you would have to
Yeah.
be brain dead to understand that. If you didn't understand that, okay, if Sony is putting out Taylor Swift and Sony is also putting out a Cardi B, that it should tell you something on how they are marketing this black woman to compare to how they're marketing this white girl. I remember years
Yeah.
ago when Taylor Swift had won that award over Beyonce, and Kanye had rushed the stage talking about Beyonce is the greatest entertainer of all time. Looking back,
Yeah.
I remember that album from Beyonce, and honestly, it looked like she really did try hard. Physically, she did everything that she was supposed to. To have lost a little white girl singing, little jingles that nobody even remembers. Nobody
I
even.
remember that we are never, ever, ever getting back
Oh
together
yeah.
again. You know that hit. I just said that.
But the thing about it is, it's the extent that we go to gain money in our
Yeah.
community, the extent
Yeah.
that we go to grovel. I think it just needs to be a change on how we see ourselves, period. Like, I don't care what you believe as a black person, whether you're Muslim, you whatever, you have to
Yes,
change
sir.
how you value that dollar, because
That's right.
how we led to pursue getting it, you can tell like your white counterparts are not going through the same extent. Like
Oh,
they
they
just
know better. They people gonna tell them something. They value and they just we have no ability to enforce these things. I love the protect Black women movement. I really do. But when it's time to enforce the protection, it's like, okay, well, okay, us brothers, we don't like y'all putting our sisters up on the stage. But then how do we, like the boycotts? It was deacons out there. You get on that bus, somebody get their head buzzed. We said we walking now, but they also had an infrastructure that if you're not going to ride the bus, we're going to get you to work, brother.
Yeah.
And so it's like
Yeah.
if we want to have standards, we have to have a way to enforce the standards. It's not enough. So if what's the healthy alternative? Because there's very talented people, but if we're just marketing these things, because I remember when what's our sister did the Super Bowl show, she had the sisters out there like Panthers. Okay, it can't be a fad to make some money.
Yeah.
And everything. If we're gonna really make this, but maybe we've been fed, we are feeding ourselves such a diet of filth that when someone comes along, if you eating French fries and burgers and all this unhealthy stuff, now you come up in here with that salad and a salmon. I don't want that. Fry me some chicken. I'm with the red beans with that rice and a little fat back up in that. I'm used to eating, not the best. You can't, I don't care what you say is gonna do for me. I got a diet of filth and I'm just addicted to that. So maybe we become addicted to stuff that don't serve us any purpose, and we know that it ain't gonna do nothing good for us.
So
But we almost become.
Where do you think leadership in the Black community should come from? I mean, we're seeing what goes on in the Black churches. We see that the NAACP is not effective. The other day I was just reading, me and my brother was just laughing personally, like when they were talking about after 150 years of its inception, the United Negro College Fund just elected its first Black chair. And to me, these are things that like I never even thought of. I'm like, I don't even get it.
George Bush was on the board. For 20 years, he was on the board of the United Negro College Fund. And maybe, we've been lied to so much. We don't like to read, but and the real thing is, every nonprofit has an operating cost. So you may give $1, but actually 42 cents actually go to the people. So the other 50
What's crazy about it is when he said that, I was thinking about Tom Joyner. I'm thinking about all these people who have really pushed for supporting the United Negro College Fund, push for supporting HBCUs. I remember every morning growing up, Tom Joyner used to be doing something where he was promoting, like, let's send money to the United Negro College Fund. If I had known that these was just a board of white people, like, I think they need to publicize the faces, because if I had known, I would have probably said, nah, I'm just gonna give this to United Negro face that I see over here, because
I know a little brother need $50 right now. And and to your point, they promote some, I call it the Black misleadership class, or the Negro Whisperers. They're like the Negro Whisperers. They're the ones that, when it's time for us to really make moves, when we start to figure out, we peek behind that curtain and see the wizard. Those are those, the OEOs that get us back in line. And it's but enough of us, once enough of us figure it out, by the time enough of us figure it out and come out, I've seen it. Brothers that get themselves together, they get right with the Lord. But by the time they get right with the Lord, now they son in jail. Yeah. And it's just like, I'm happy my brother, he doing good, but his son doing 7-8 years now. And now my brother old head, like they say, or whatever. So, the youngsters don't listen. And he kicked up so much dust in the neighborhood now that he just one soldier coming out of it. And he going hard. I know a lot of beautiful brothers. They going harder for the Lord than they did for the gangs. But the sad part is they put too many little homies in it. And it's the same thing. These people, these syndicated radio hosts, and they out there, and we lift them up because they may say a couple things about the Lord, but then they play all that music that's derogatory. And it's just like, I remember Steve Harvey did. He said, now that I got that out the way, and then they go, and it's not enough of us with the eyes and the discernment to say this is wrong, and the people that can push back don't have the stage to challenge
Like
these brothers.
that whole wave of Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry. I respect them. I respect some of what they've done, but I'll say this: they're not like Christian like that. They're they're Christians of convenience. Like these are the people who profit off of the community and the culture. I know, like on OWN, Oprah promotes Black love. I'm gonna leave that there.
Where your husband at?
I mean, Oprah. I don't think she's gonna have one. I'm not even getting into that. Now,
I think stead man is just steady man.
Stead man is
a code word.
Brand man now. Like it really, I mean, it's a wrap with those two. Then like Steve Harvey and like all on OWN though. Let's stay with Oprah for a second. All on OWN. What's crazy about it is that she has a show Greenleaf. Great, compelling show about church life. They ended the series, but it's kind of like you're telling the story of the church, but what do you do in participation besides you're exploiting the culture of conservative Black people for money?
Yeah.
I remember when her network was first starting, it was going to be built off of the back of this new age self-help stuff. And she had equipped, everyone remembers all of her white friends with shows and titles on the boards and all that. And when she saw it was about to flop, suddenly OWN becomes blacker than BET. Everything on there is blackety black, like black, every show. That's not what it was when it first started. But no. Steve Harvey is another one like that. Steve Harvey to me has always been like, one, you a king of comedy. We all know your stand-up routine. Like you cuss really more than Chris Rock. But
whatever it takes to get the money.
But
that's what it is.
I should have put Monique in this picture too. Like on the flip, we see him and his stance in the community as far as a Christian advocate. And it's just like, wait a minute now. Wasn't you what I feel like in our community, money buys you prominence and a voice. Like that's what it is. Enough money, you can't be wrong.
And we listen to whoever got the money. My brother-in-law, he said to me, you can't, my wife and I were saying something about, he said, you can't knock him. He's making money though. And it's like, well, but that's like the dope dealer. The dope dealer, Nino Brown give out a couple turkeys.
That's what it was.
But when they start shooting that little, he grabbed that little baby and was hiding behind that baby. I said, oh, this Negro right here need to go somewhere forever.
Yeah,
yes, but we have no way of holding him accountable, and anyone that'll speak against them is shunned. He's a hater. You just jealous because you don't got what I got. Well, if I gotta compromise myself to have something, and it's like you a chump when you don't have money. But I know people everybody I know ain't trying to not lead the revolution or just walk upright the best they can and follow that light. And it's sad because when I talk to these brothers, they be like, man, when I think about it, looking back, they make this money, but then they go do all these years in the feds or whatever. They say, for the little bit of what I got compared to what I lost, and for my children, what I did to the community, it wasn't worth it. But we never hear that conversation.
Never.
We never hear about the broken dreams. We never hear about the STDs. We don't hear it. And it's sad. I mean, I keep going back to it's sad. At the end of the day, I'm always at a loss for words. And when people ask, what can I do? I say, just hug the children and keep the children away from these people. Unplug that TV, read to them. And, for as many of these negative outlets, we need more positive outlets. So if they got the twerk competition, we need more girls out here that are doing ballet, that are doing take them out of these neighborhoods. Back in the day, at least if you was going to play all that music, you're going to go to the juke joint way out in the back late night
Yeah.
when you don't know. You're not about to be up here on Front Street playing. At least, when I was young in the service, they had BT Uncut. I don't know, it came on whenever, but now it's daytime TV where they doing that.
All day. Now,
The mamas got the music with the kids. My wife get on me, you playing that crap near our babies. You need to turn it off or I'll bust you upside the head.
and that
And
was
and it's like,
I remember, and me and my brothers talk about this like just this past Christmas, we had all went home. And we all grown at this point. So we were going to have a drink. Growing up, we never, ever, ever, ever saw dad drink in the house. That's not saying he never drunk. Looking back now, I'm like, oh yeah, when my dad and his brothers got together, they would go away from the family or their kids and they would go and be men to that level. But
yes, sir.
I remember when we were at home, it was such a level of respect just for our mom. No, if we're gonna drink, let's go in the garage. So all of us in the garage, and it's like, look how silly we look. Like we grown and we still scared to do it. But now that's what it is. Like there's no respect, there's no boundaries for decency. It's not saying that, one of my favorite movies, The Color Purple, like when you do see the juke joint scenes, it's not saying that nobody is out there at the juke joint, but there's a respect level that you can't have the juke joint next to the church and then y'all want to bounce back and forth, bouncing back and forth. You selling drugs all in front of kids and stuff and drinking and like there's no boundaries in people's homes. There's no boundaries in the streets. And we don't really have leadership to promote those boundaries. And that kind of brings me to the last group. Now, this one, I'm at a loss for these two. I didn't put them up against anybody because, for Stacey Dash and Tre Songz, you said Stacey Dash is in, and Tre Songz is out for me in this one. Now, for T.I., go on. I'm confused. Now,
indubitably.
I feel like for T.I. and Tiny, it's like there's so much that can be said. I really feel though when it comes down to it, a lot of these allegations are only coming out about T.I. is because he has decided to rebrand himself and actually initiate change within the community. I think if he was just another rapper and he just wanted to say stuff, he would not be getting the flack that he's getting. And I think most of the stuff that they're saying, and it's one of the things I was talking to my older brother about, most of the stuff that they're saying really it's not damning to his career to the point of, oh, we all know he's lying. But at the same time, like, you can't turn a blind eye because it's almost believable. Like, I can believe T.I. and Tiny did this. I can believe it. Hell, I do believe it. I mean,
I do believe it too. Now, the best thing to do is get ahead of it. Did y'all do it? Okay, yes, and tell the truth. And that, I don't want to see them on no table talk with Miss Pinky Smith. But it's a hard thing. Sometimes when you and I'm probably open my mouth, people gonna start popping up talking about me now that I said we need to behave. But it's kind of a tired thing, just like Bill Cosby. He gonna buy BET, so they came out. Sometimes when we decide to say that we're gonna do better, we shouldn't do certain things. I mean, we all have a past and everything, but I mean, I may be opening my mouth to convicting myself, but just as a married person, I like I keep saying, they go back to, I don't know. I'm not about canceling my people because we forgive all kind of people and everything, and I do believe this is still the United States of America. And we shouldn't do our people like that. Until he had his day in court or until he admitted it, it's just allegations. Because somebody can allege that you did something, and until and it can be slander. Let you make go viral and make you $100 million in Jesus' name. There's going to be a lot of people that got a story to tell about you. And until you prove something in court, it's just an allegation. Allegations do not equate guilt.
Now, thing about
it could be a lot of allegations.
They have already canceled their shows. The Tiny and T.I. Family Hustle, that's been canceled. We know a lot of their appearances have been canceled. a lot of even their close knit of friends now have pretty much been coming under scrutiny. I know now that they're talking about Tiny and T.I.'s sex dungeon. One of the reoccurring themes on that show, Housewives of Atlanta, with Tiny's ex bandmate from Escape, what's her name? Candy Burrs. It was always that she had a sex dungeon. So as soon as this was coming out, I remember in my head, like, I've heard this before. Yeah, I believe that they did this. That was the
See,
first
now back in the day, that's why that you couldn't, when you have friends, your mama didn't let everybody walk through your house. If that's what you want to have in your house, you when your friends come, where they come, you stay in that front room. Now your friends be all in your closet, they in your bathroom, in the garage, no, you stay right here.
Honestly, that's something that people need to learn, especially this with all this technology and stuff and this social media stuff. Man, as open as you are, you gotta be shut. You gotta shut the book. I'm for real, and that's kind of how our mom was, and especially my grandma. Like, ain't nobody coming up here. You ain't eating.
Yeah, nah.
And
you ain't gonna be swinging my door or touching my refrigerator. No, you could go from. You need to ask to use the bathroom too.
That's
then
right.
It's still what you gonna do. Nah, you need to take that home, bro. You ain't family popping your butt on my toilet. And people get so comfortable because they think everybody behave in these different ways. But I mean, I think the lesson that I would take from this is all this pleasure. A lot of these people, the low life mentality is forget tomorrow as long as tonight is sweet, and you never know. And so this man now he's taking food out of his children's mouth, and he's destroying everything that they going. But great men, we undo ourselves if we achieve, and it's the 4 A's my pastor taught me. He said addiction, reckless adventure seeking, and it's 2 more, and now you made me adultery. And it's three, and you see that right now. It could be he got a sex addiction. You got a good looking wife. Why you gotta do all that extra stuff?
Talk about time.
And yeah, I mean, hey, he like it. My wife just said it. He like it. He liked her enough to marry and keep having them children. So but it's like you don't have any discipline. Which one of our sons is home? The oldest one or the tall one? The tall one. Children grow up, they go off, and I'm thinking that my son 24, this one is in Delaware, then my other boy 21. And anyway, stay on topic. My wife said, he finds a wife, finds a good thing. I don't know why he had to do all that extra stuff, and then he put his children out. It's our business too. I'm a fan.
It's not your business what he do in his bedroom.
I got cable to watch them.
Listen. That's my whole thing. Like, it wasn't nobody's business until T.I., and I knew this was gonna happen. Like, as soon as T.I. started talking up and saying, "Ooh, black people need to do this. Ooh, the white man, this, that, and other." As soon as he started talking about white people, and to be very real, I'm gonna be very real. I don't think it's coincidence that everybody who really supported the Democratic push and really was out speaking vocally against Donald Trump is just in a hell of hot water right now. You got Andrew Cuomo in New York. It's like everybody that was speaking against him. It's like all of this stuff is coming to light right now. I think, honestly,
well, the allegations are very serious. If you trafficking people and it is proven in court, you need to be in jail.
I don't believe they prove that. Like, I think now you got these entertainment attorneys now who's like, okay, we can find 80 women and we can all corroborate this story. So everybody get a check. But the thing about it is, you cannot. I feel like it's almost the same thing with the R. Kelly situation. To the extent, when I looked at that documentary, I can see the abuse that R. Kelly was doing on some of those girls. But on the flip, and looking at that documentary, I remember there was one girl, she actually showed up at R. Kelly's hearing, and she was like a fan standing outside, who free R. Kelly with all the craziness. And I remember in the documentary, she was saying R. Kelly met her that day, and then she went back to R. Kelly's house, and then they did the do, and then she ended up being trapped in his house, and now she's crazy for R. Kelly. My thing with that is, look, you freely went and did this. It was one of those Tre Songz thing where you wanted that man to spit in your mouth. Like you
I
wanted
want the herpes though.
Yeah, I mean, you wanted. I think R. Kelly was clearly being irresponsible, but I don't put nothing past, like, I'm gonna be real. Like, 16 in the hood is not 16 in the suburbs. 16 for some of these kids is not 16. Like,
Right.
it really isn't. And I was talking to my brother about that. Like, growing up, I knew, like, those little Pollyanna girls that if a situation unfolded like this, like, yeah, they're being taken advantage of. Like, you can clear as they see it. But it's not so cut and dry now. Like, some of these kids they have the mind of a child, but they have the audacity of an adult. And
Oh, wow.
I believe that they be knowing what they're doing. So for
Okay.
T.I. and Tiny, you're not going to tell me that all of these grown women just happen to be in the club, just happen to get drugged, just happen to all meet him the same way, and he did all of them wrong. I cannot.
Well, then the flip side of that would make him a predator. If that is what it is. If sometimes they may not know they were because they were preyed upon. You just go in here, you heard they giving out free hugs in that cave. You didn't know you wasn't going to come home. And they think because that person's the predator, they've been setting you, like, it's kind of like on training. I've been setting this up all week. You just thinking today. And this person, like, I've been looking for a person like you, Little Red Riding Hood, and here you are. And so, and that's something that we may not think about, because I mean, they are children, they know this, but they don't expect, they expect you to. Like I said, I dated my daughter, my wife, excuse me, pardon me. I dated my wife. We was 16. I'm at her house. I did school. I'm over there. I know I got to ride the bus because she stayed a little far away, but I know her mama going to be home about 5 o'clock. We got about 1 hour. You know what I mean? And so it ain't no spending the night hanging out, hiding in the closet. Her mama checking to make sure it's clean. So, but now, these people going, they not meeting a person that when they got Jeff Epstein, what got Jeff Epstein, the girl went to school with $2,000, and the mama was like, where you get $2,000? See, and that goes again to these parents and everything. Like back in the day, kids selling dope. The mama like, hey, where you get this money from? Like, I couldn't bring home nothing. My mom like, where you get that? I found it. Take that crap back where you got it from, and I'm gonna whoop your behind for picking up people's stuff.
What minister was it out in Atlanta?
Eddie Long.
Eddie Long. Now, again, I get what you're saying, but these kids now, like, the level of I don't even know what it is. I can't say that they're more mature, but sexually they are way more advanced. And I think
I'm still a man. I'm still a man, and you a child. Like I'm not a big dude, but I could hurt somebody, brother. But I'm a man, and I know this my son just walked in the house. He about 6'3", and I know he a young man. He get a little huffy and puffy. He got more hair in his face than me. He get a little, but I will hurt that young man. And I know when I see him, if I was a policeman, I know he just a little kid. And when I see him, I see my brother. That's my son, though. And the same with you. When I see you, you my brother. And now when these other people see you, he threatening. Nah, bro, that's no. And so they shoot the little brother. We gonna rough him up and we gonna get him in the back of the car and take him to the station. Now the Caucasian man might shoot him up, shoot him in the back, do all kind of extra stuff because he don't see you. Now when I'm a man, I'm supposed to be more mature. I know that's a child. She might be going through hormones, all of this stuff, but I am a man. I need to conduct myself as a man. So I can't take advantage of this little girl. This is a child. You don't have no doubt. A lot of these pedophiles, these people getting away with, what else? What I was supposed to do? She came on to me. Caucasians say that. Don't be mad at us for reparations. Your people sold us to it. Well, y'all know damn well it was wrong. Now we trying to be so equal with these people that we are minimizing our thing. We never wanted to be equal. We wanted to be better. We trying to be so equal with these people. We doing just the same things that they did. So we finding ways to justify. Oh, she came on to me. Well, she a child, fool.
My thing is, I get that.
I ain't
You're
calling
right.
you no fool either, brother. That's what I'm saying.
No, I 100% agree, but I think with most of these, and it's the parents. It's the parents, like what you're saying. Like,
You're right.
you see the parents, it's like, here you go, shrouded in the mink coat, and you live in the projects, and you say your kid is hanging out with R. Kelly, and you mad. Where you get the coat from, mama? Where you get the coat from? It's kind of like they turn.
Mama like, shoot, girl. He R. Kelly looking at you, girl. You better hike that dress up and walk. Let me show you how to switch when you walk past her. And no, you the mama. You don't. You both y'all need to get up and get up out of here. But then where the men at? We're supposed to be standard bearers. We know better. We need more brothers to stand up, because I know if I walk out my house, they selling dope out here. There's about to be some problems over here. I know if somebody over here got little girls in their house, we finna kick that door down. I hate that they doing away with the citizens arrest in Georgia, because not enough of us black men are using it. Now, if us black men, but one white boy used it to kill our brother Ahmaud Arbery down there. Now, if enough black men in the north and in SWAT, if they use that, like, hey, look, y'all got till Friday to cut this off. If y'all don't cut it off, we about to turn up on y'all. We enough is enough. And when we get more serious about our children, about our women, but at first we need to get serious about ourselves, just like David was commanded by God. Pursue, overcome, or recover and take all. We need to go back and we need to get our children, and we need to be standard bearers and not allow this stuff to happen. That's the sad thing. And maybe they did take T.I. down, but he had enough. It seemed like all these people got a little something on them, and whenever they get ready to talk,
and
boom,
that's
remember that thing you did.
Now let me ask. What is? And we got a question from commenter. What is your definition of canceling? Would you ever cancel somebody, the behavior, the person? What's your definition? What does it mean to cancel a black person? What does it mean? Because we done heard you go through the list now. Well, Tre Songz, you ain't canceled nobody. So
because we can't cancel these. You know you can't cancel none of us. They Nino Brown tried to cancel that girl. She popped back up. Ain't no canceling. We come back. When what's his name got the hot grits threw him on him. Came back with the gospel album. They try to cancel. Ain't no canceling none of us. We gone. We are a forgiving people. And all we got to do is do something nice and fresh, and we right back in there again. You know, R. Kelly gonna get out in about 10 years. He gonna drop the hottest gospel, fresh out of prison love song. I miss you, baby. I ain't gonna do it wrong. And then Step in the Name of Love gonna be back on. It's all good again. So
to answer that question from this person, my thing is, I believe that if there's ever behavior from anybody that I don't like, I'm done with that person. I've known people for years, and I think people would be looking at me like I'm not an arguer. You know, my one older brother, he a big dude, so he'll sit there and argue because he know nothing gonna happen to him. I'm the type of person where when I'm done, if I don't like your behavior, I'm not gonna argue. I'm a little too grown for that point. So we're done. Now, if ever you understand or you've come to the understanding that your behavior, that your actions towards me or something that you're doing is the result of that, and you want to engage that conversation, we can have it. So when I look at a lot of these people like Cardi B, I mean, right now, she's canceled. She was canceled for me when she first started. I mean, she had 5 minutes of an opportunity and she squandered it. I want to see, until I see some growth from her, and it don't even have to be on my timeline. But until I see it, I'm not going to participate in listening to your crap. Like, I don't want to feed into that. Stacey Dash and some of these people, like, I can't cancel Stacey Dash. I can't cancel Candace Owens. That's a difference of opinion. Like, friends who have differences of opinions. Like that's your prerogative. But when your opinion leads you to do something or take an action that to me seems what's the word, damaging, like now I
Yes,
gotta
sir.
look at you different. Like I can't deal with you. You like one of the stories that just jumped in my head, the story of Noah. Like when he boarded that boat, like when he got on the boat, when Noah got on the boat, you know, God had already looked at the world. He saw what it was. He saw what it was. He said, "Get your family on." On. God didn't cancel the world because he didn't love the world. He canceled the behavior.
They
And
canceled themselves. They all
that's,
had a chance to get on that ark.
that's what it is.
It
So
was more than enough room for all of them. Just like with Lot. Lot told everybody. God said, go get everybody that'll listen. Who will go find me somebody. Even his own wife wanted to look back.
and that was the story. That was one of the stories in the Bible that I always go back and I listen to, and I'm always reminded to with the story a lot with the how when what was his name? I believe it was tarried for them and said, God, if I can find just 5 people, just 10 righteous people in the city, 2 people, God said, if you can find one person, I'll spare the city. And when it came down to it, it was simply Lot and his family. His wife couldn't even move with him because she was holding on to the world. I mean,
That's right.
it comes to, I don't cancel people, but in lack of a better word, like you said, they've canceled themselves, in my opinion.
They just gonna fall off if we had standards.
Yeah.
If listen, once we just come out with a standard and we say this is toxic, because you know that's their word, they everything toxic now, and just let them fall off. Like they, like I do construction, and we gotta work hard. If you don't work hard, you get 2 checks on Friday. That's what we do. We build casinos and all that kind of stuff. If it's real competitive and everything. But if you do what you got to do, you safe and everything. So in the beginning, I would say, hey, am I good? They like, bro, listen, I don't lay nobody off. Y'all fire yourselves. Now, a quick way to get fired is not being where you need to be, doing what you need to do, producing. They pay us a lot of money to do this. So if you're not producing now and convert is like the other side. If these people aren't productive to the culture, if they destructive to the children, if they destructive to our collective image, then we need to just say, listen, you got sisters out here working hard. They doing all of these things. You know what I'm saying? They done drove the price of the sex act to $40. How you gonna get a husband when women selling their body for $40?
$40.
You see what I'm? So we need to cancel people that's making that $40 WAP popular. It was women that worked and lobbied to make prostitution illegal because they said that you can't find no husband with women out there. And now it's women and they empowering other women by saying, that's what I say. Ain't the world upside? Good is evil and evil is good. But
and that's
you can't
crazy
tell
because even when you were talking about like the Maxine Waters with co-signing the whole WAP and all this Cardi B foolishness, with that, it's kind of, you were one of the women who was influential not only in civil rights but in women's rights, to kind of hold that standard that we all see of Black women. She's really one of those pioneer Black women that we kind of see in Congress. Like she has a history of her own, and the co-sign that, it's just, to me, I don't even know what to think about it.
But see, it would have been, she proved that guy with the orange skin that everybody hated so much because he was mean and told the truth. But he said we need term limits. If she would have just faded off a long time ago, she wouldn't have kept talking and allowed us to just see, well, daggone, has she always been this off? Because if that's her judgment and she's supposed to be one of our more intelligent sisters, no wonder just the average, now if she the smart one, no wonder the ones that ain't the smart ones putting Gorilla Glue in their hair. if that's the brainiac who been there for 40, 30 years because she got all the brains, then then if that's the best we got, then the little common sister's gonna put glue in their hair because she think it's a good thing to sing songs about your WAP and wonder why you not respected. Now, you can't blame a fool for not respecting you, but you could blame yourself for being a fool and then not getting no respect. So it's like sometimes we are not willing to examine ourselves and wonder what role are we playing in our so-called oppression and everything. You got these ladies out here saying with us brothers and everything. Like in real life, you know daggone well 3 people pull guns out on you, you bet not move. If these, you know, the homies on the street trying to rob you and they say, hey, we want that nice chain, that necklace you got on, bro, give it up, don't move slow. Matter of fact, y'all take it, I ain't moving. What make us think we could behave like an act a fool with the police when they got guns on us? We say they racist, they hate us. You know, you in Tennessee, North Carolina, they, you know, they wasn't hanging. They was hanging black people 50 years. They probably still do.
Telling somebody the other day, you know, like, yeah, the police may do this, that, the other, but I don't know where y'all get in y'all head. Y'all gonna fight the police like this? Like at the end of the day, and that's one of the things my dad taught us was, I wanna go home. Like,
see, that's manhood, accountability.
That's it. I want to go home. But
yes, sir.
Moral of the story is, these people's actions are canceled.
Candace and Stacey could kick it. The motherfucker. I wonder if you did that like that. The 4 out of the 6. So you know, 4. You know, I'm gonna say the other ones. Yeah, Candace and Stacey, they okay. We only want to cancel them because they say stuff we don't like.
That's really
it's the same thing. You know, people don't boycott what they don't like. You know, ain't nobody finna boycott no Nikes. I don't care what they do.
I thought they tried.
You could tell me that. You tell them, hey, they made a special Nike called "Kick Negroes Behind," and we ain't gonna stop wearing them. We just not gonna get that one. You know, but if you like something, if you don't like it, it's like, hey, I don't really like it anyway, so we could boycott that. You know what I'm saying? Don't know. Hey, but if we like it, we ain't gonna stop that. I'm still boycott. I haven't watched BET. My wife and I, we never had cable till about since the pandemic. I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. We like movies, and we had us a cool antenna and everything. But that kept our children from, you know, we kept a lot of sickness out of our home because we put movies on. And then when it get to acting crazy, I hit that remote. Now listen, I tell my kids, listen, you try that up in here, you're gonna get your head busted in your behind wood. That's not real world, because we can control.
People think we crazy. And right now I am sitting next to one TV in my living room. Growing up, we only had, between all of us, we had one TV. I never thought it was unusual. Like, we all took turns watching the one TV. It's in the living room. That's it. And
I gotta agree.
I mean, that's what it was. But now looking back, I'm like, you know, it's so bizarre to me how these kids all got a TV in the room. They got a cell phone. They got a laptop. There's no wonder you can't keep track of your kids. Start snatching that stuff from them. I mean, I know for my brothers, like, that's one of the things that they constantly doing. Like, I don't think neither of them got cable.
And you work with computers. I'm sure you could build you a TV. You got them. You see what you can have them all on your walls and in the bathroom if you want to.
I'm just 2 weeks ago. I had my iPhone. I just never used it. I've been using my old Galaxy S7 for, it's been like 4 years. Yeah. Like I'm not, I know what technology is good for, but at the same time, like, in the wrong hands, especially, you can see. Yeah.
You know, I remember in the 80s, and you know, back then, my mom, you know, we had cable, and we had just the one TV in the living room. My cousins come, they be like, hey, you want to watch some nasty movies, like we used to call them? Now listen. We go downstairs, you know, and they got the little channel blurred out, and the TV like swirling like a rainbow. But he like, if you look right there in between them things, now if a kid could have the whole phone where they could do it and bring it in, then the kids got their own prepaid cards. Then they could go, you know, because they go get their little video game cards, and like kids have everything. They got their $100. Not my children. My kids be like, Daddy, why we so daggone poor? I'm like, we ain't poor. What you talking about? They like, well, you don't buy us that. And I said, listen, we could be trillionaires and you ain't getting none of that. Grown-ups don't know how to manage that stuff. You know what I mean? Grown-ups,
it comes down to it's so crazy
who the child.
it's so crazy. Like working in the computer store, one of the things that I always see, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna end out. Like one of the things we always see is when the kids come in with their parents, the parents are totally clueless on what they're buying their kids. And what the kids know, I'm telling you, like these kids actually know more than the techs that work in our store. They come in there, well, I need a computer with at least 8 GB of this STD because I'm trying to play so and so game. And it's like the mom and dad are just, well, how much is that going to be? What does that do? I'm like, you about to buy your kid something that, literally there are grown people who don't have this technology and will never use it. And your kid is telling you that they can use it. I don't know. That's just another story. So the moral of the story today is no cancel. And Kirk Franklin better stop that cussing. I thought to throw that out there.
Hey, you know what? I love Kirk Franklin. I lived in Fort Worth, Texas, and in 19 I was in the service 96 to 2001. I lived down there, and he used to do a lot of concerts and stuff on the west side of Las Vegas. They was like, man, Kirk Franklin, you don't know Kirk Franklin. Tyler Perry used to come down there to the House of Jubilee and do his shows, his Medea. We saw him live and whatnot. But I love Kirk Franklin. And sometimes kids push you there. My son, I love him to death. I can't wait to go out and and give him a hug. He grown now, so he got a place, he working and whatnot. And I'm like, man, just come by, bro. And but he done pushed me there many a times. Many a times. And I had to lay them hands on him in Jesus' name. But it was in love, and because they do that. I'm sure that you're not the way you are because your parents just let you go out in the world any old kind of way and forget who you were and everything. And sometimes, and if you don't and everything, they don't love you. You see a lot of kids who didn't get that love. And now I know it's some hurt. It sounds like the child was baiting him. And whatnot, but I mean, he's 33 years old, but and it's sad. I'm upset that Kirk Franklin apologized, and that's why people think they could cancel you because they get in your business about what you doing, and now they think they could tell you what to do in your house.
Now let me, somebody who's really great with something like that. This is gonna sound crazy. That Wendy Williams. She's somebody who's great for getting in people's business. And when people find out her business, she never, ever answers. Yeah. Like she know her mess is all messed up. Wendy Williams never, ever answers. I think that needs to be the mantra for like all of these people, man. Like if I ever make it to that level, if people start asking me my business, I'm gonna pull a Wendy Williams. Smile and talk.
Whoa.
I'm a smiling.
Yeah, you tell me. Listen, I don't talk about my personal life. I talk about y'all. That's what you tell them. My life is off limits. I talk about y'all. Or if you do let them, into your life, never in your people. I always why do they do that? Like, and it's a funny thing. I notice first they hate you, then they love you, or is it first they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again? But like you see it with everybody. It's such a roller coaster ride where they feed off of your life and from these Kardashians, and then when you don't want to do that anymore, like I noticed that with Kanye West, he seems to be a more private person with his children, but the wife seemed to cash in. They could know any. Y'all want to see her without her clothes on, with this, with that. She's gonna give them all access past it. And my wife in the back talking, but you see she ain't walking over here. She's screaming and this.
I think that's really what's ending their marriage. The more and more I'm seeing them in the public eye now, I'm thinking like these two really were married. Like I didn't think it was a real marriage until right now. I'm seeing like it looks like there's a battle between the entertainment, the paparazzi, the whole, I guess, lifestyle that Kim Kardashian's having, where Kanye is wanting to go, how they're wanting to raise their family. I that's sad because I think I would have liked to have sympathized more and seeing him on TV with his family if I had known it was real, but it always seemed plastic. It always.
But now conversely, that Meg Merkel is her name, the woman who thought she was gonna go to the Buckingham Palace and be able to run stuff. See, she married into an institution. and she didn't understand. I believe she didn't understand. You can't be an individual in an institution, and that's the
That was
same thing. Kanye,
all day with that. Because my thing is, you married a white aristocrat in a family that we done all read in books. They marry each other cousins because they don't want to share their money. And here your little
well, she's
black.
his cousin too. She's just, I'm intrigued. And now I know people probably looking at my nose like, not this big nose Negro is intrigued by the what. I love the royal family. It's just very interesting. The historical significance.
I was sitting there. I look at documentaries on that stuff all the time. What's crazy is they marry the cousins. They don't want to get rid of that wealth and power. They don't.
No.
And what's crazy though is she pops up in there and it's so different. And what did you expect, man? Like you come up there with your mama, with her mama, with the sister locks and all this. You think you're gonna be singing some old school soul music at your wedding with the royal family, and it's gonna all be good. Like, I'm sorry,
and they
Princess.
said no. Hold up. The queen said immediately, this girl is out of pocket. Send her back to charm school for 6 more weeks. And then if she says like that, that's something, you know. And you know, I have 5 sisters, and my wife married into, and my wife's an only child. She's a very individual person. I love her because of that. I talk a lot now, but I'm a pretty quiet guy. And it's like, you know, like the culture of conformity. She bring her American way of doing things, and you know, you know, the whole truth. And it's just me putting my own thing on it because in my mind, I like a little gossip and drama too. My wife and I, we talk about it, but I'm just like, this woman over here, and then it become this black thing. I think it was a class thing. They didn't like Miss Lady Diana, and she was white as the driven snow. And so, and you see what happened to her. And you know, I hear all kind of speculation. Maybe they mad because they killed the young man's mom, and you know, he got the red hair. The dude ain't the daddy. But I think ultimately, I mean, I know a man, you know, you grow up, you get married, and you leave your family, and that's what God said and everything. You take a wife, you gotta leave your family. But it's an interesting thing that it seemed like this young woman drove a wedge between this man and his family. And his duty in his country, and he married into an individual. Now, I don't think they like that woman, that young lady, because this is her 3rd marriage.
Who?
You know, and that's something. See what I'm saying, everybody? Meghan Markle, she was married 2 times, bro. Not 3, 2 times before this. We say twice too, but she was married 2 times before this. So they looking at her sideways, like, is she a pretty girl, little city? Oh, look at that, bro. Now she came up. So they looking at her sideways, man. You ain't finna run off with the jewels and the crowns and all that. You got a track record, Miss Merkel. She probably put that American WAP on that young man, and you know, and then turned him out and everything. Got him renouncing all of this. So a lot. I think it was a real good. I think is a real teachable moment, especially to us. You know, all the black people, we all kings and queens, and you know, but you can't maintain no power and you can't rule if you just gonna relinquish your authority for love. You know, that's that. And you know, we seen that in Coming to America. What's the semi with with the sister asked, she was like, "You really get us up, Prince Akeem?" He said, "Yes." Right now, I read that was the first one, but we see in that second movie, you know, the queen or the princess, the king's wife, she got mighty bougie real quick. It took the sister to come from Queens to remind her, you know, put them Henny shots up in her to bring her back to reality and everything. But we have this illusion of how power and how things are supposed to work, and oftentimes it ain't real. So I don't think it was as much racism as much as it was decorum and order. You're not about to be writing no books. Ain't no cameras about to be up in here. When you gonna put that pinky up when you sip that tea too. You know what I mean? And you're gonna act a certain way. And you not
next
yes,
week
sir.
we gonna talk about that. Because honestly,
yes,
I have history is my thing. That is the thing. Growing up, our dad used to just live on History Channel. My dad's a history buff. So all of us like have our certain niches that we like about history. And I kind of got big into like the royal family, especially that Victorian era. Like, it's to me amazing that she married all of her kids off to be like royalty in other countries in Europe. and those families is really sent us into World War I. Like
That's how they kept them from killing each other.
Yeah, it
like,
was
look,
like a battle of a family, and it was the world who was their playing ground. Like it's
yes,
crazy.
sir.
But
Yes,
we're gonna talk about that. We gotta talk about
yes,
that.
sir.
But thank you for being here.
Thank
Like
you for having
so
me, my brother.
smiling. I got all these pages floating around, and I just be talking to people online. But it's nice to put a face to the texting now.
You too, my brother. You known in Las Vegas, or at least you known in my house amongst my family. We love you, and we love your brothers too. Your inspiration, my brother. You keep doing what you doing, brother. You keep on. You never know how far your reach is and how far you're inspiring people, man. You're a younger brother, but I look up to you in a lot of ways. You keep on doing what you doing, my brother. I wish you nothing but love
I'm
and
gonna
success.
say this.
Man.
On the flip, I look up to dudes like you because when I'm on Facebook talking my crap, sometimes it make me. I'm like, I must really be the last saying or something like, and then here come you or somebody else, and it reminds me, no, they're grown men who they actually have these same morals and standards, and yeah, I'm good. So
You are great,
doing,
bro. Not good. You great.
I'm great. I'm great.
That's
Thank
right.
you for that. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Tell you
You're
Wi-Fi
welcome, my
sex
brother. I
tonight.
love you. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Peace out, everyone. Make sure you like and subscribe at the bottom.